Good Mom and...
Sorry.
Good Mom and Monday. You're here at the Mistaken Mama podcast. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Mandee.
And we are your hosts. This week on the podcast, we're going to be talking about hobbies that we wish we could take up, but probably never will, or at least not for a really long time.
Yeah.
Specifically because we're moms.
We just don't have the time. Is really what it comes down to. Or maybe we have the time, but kids can't be around for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but first, let's do our Wins Fails books.
Wins Fails books. I have an exciting win.
Okay.
Quincy has used the toilet 4 times.
Quincy!
She's not even 18 months.
Yay!
She's not even 16 months. And I don't know, because I was not prepared, at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is the real deal or if she's just curious.
Mm-hmm.
But she keeps, wanting to take off her diaper, and she says, pee, pee. And so I was like, can you just take out Maverick's old little toilet? And we took it out, and she sat on it, and she peed, and then she peed again, and then she peed again. And then the next day, I was like, okay, that's just a fluke, you know?
Mm-hmm.
She wants on that toilet all day long. This was 3 days ago.
Let her.
I know. But I was not in the headspace for it. So I need to bring it out of the bathroom, because she truly just wants to sit on it until she goes. But she sits, and then she gets up and plays, sits, and then gets up and plays. And I just don't want her in the bathroom doing that.
That makes sense. Yeah, we've always done the living room.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring it out. But I'm like, wait a minute. This girl, I'm telling you, she constantly, I'm like, can you just be my baby?
Oh, yeah. She just wants to grow up. She's like, fuck you,
Get out
Mom.
of here. Yeah.
I'm a child now.
Which my mom said I was 18 months when I potty trained. My mom said that I had potty trained at 18 months. So I was kind of thinking, well, maybe girls potty train faster. But then all my friends who have girls, my friend Taylor, and I think Carrie Ann, you've all told me no, it was between 2, 3. I think one of them was closer to 4 even.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, well, maybe they don't. But then Quincy was like, maybe I do.
Anna started around 2.
Yeah, that's right. She was 2.
Because she was completely potty trained day, night, all of it by the time Damon was born.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yep. And she was daytime potty trained for a couple of months before she was also nighttime potty trained.
Okay.
But then she broke her leg, and then that caused a rift and things.
Yeah. I just wasn't prepared for it, I guess, this early. And she's ripping her diaper off now all the time, which is lovely. And she knows how to take her pants off now.
Oh, fun.
So I either have to strap her in a onesie because she hasn't figured out the buttons, or I'm just constantly letting her sit on the toilet, which is fine. I think it's just because I wasn't mentally prepared. I'm like, stop it. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's really cool, though.
I mean, it's exciting. I'd be grateful to be done with diapers.
Mm-hmm. Until you got to reset if you decide to have a third.
Right, yeah. Yep. But anyway, your win.
I don't really have a win that I can really think of off the top of my head, but I do have a fail that is opposite of your win. Mm-hmm. So you are over here congratulating your not even yet 18-month-old on learning to potty train.
Okay.
Whereas for me, yesterday, my oldest, she went to gymnastics. Mm-hmm. Husband took her. And Ellie really wanted to go.
Okay.
Ellie's a couple months older than her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Not even an hour after they had left. Okay, so gymnastics is 45 minutes plus a 15-minute drive-ish there and back. They also were going to go to the store afterwards.
Okay.
So and we had just changed Ellie's diaper. So realistically, if I'd got her dressed, she should have been fine to go.
Yeah.
No, so less than an hour after they leave, I go into the kids' room. Damon and Ellie are watching TV. And Ellie got her thumb in her diaper.
I see where this is headed.
And then I realized that she has something on her leg.
No.
And I realized very quickly that something is smeared poop. So she smeared poop all over her hand, her leg, her diaper, all over her. So her shirt is just... And so I'm like, well, I guess it's a good thing that you didn't go.
Yeah.
Because you would have had a poopy while you were out, and Dad probably wouldn't have brought a diaper for going out for that short of a time.
Right.
Not after just changing her.
Yeah.
So I had to deal with that. That is the first time that's happened with her.
Dang.
Yeah. And she has like a diaper rash right now. Which I think is why
She was probably trying to
like it's
irritating me.
Yeah. So it'd be nice if she would be potty training right now, because then she probably wouldn't have a diaper rash.
Right.
So
Quincy has a diaper rash right now too. Oranges. Every time she has an orange. God.
I will say, like, the best diaper cream that we've used, we use cloth, and so this cream isn't necessarily great for cloth. We do have to kind of wash it out because it does kind of like create a weird barrier. But calmoseptine,
Yeah.
it is so good for diaper rash.
Yeah, we have some too. For when Mavericks was really bad when he had his.
And Damon and Ellie both have like this weird like sensitivity to like their pee.
Yeah.
And so they get diaper rashes all the time. It was like the worst to try to figure out what was wrong with Damon when he was a baby.
That. Yeah.
It took forever. Like, we went and saw a urologist and like everything, because oh my gosh, she just was constantly getting diaper rash, and that was not something that Anna ever did.
Right.
And then so when we figured out what it was and how to treat it, when Ellie showed signs of having diaper rash all the time, we were like, okay, cool. So 2 out of 3 of our kids have this problem.
But at least now you know how to treat it.
Oh yeah. Because we used to just use like the butt paste.
Right.
But that does nothing.
It doesn't touch that kind of a rash. Yeah.
Not when it's a contact rash like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Mavericks wasn't either. Honestly, the thing that I got to heal Mavericks, but you also shouldn't use this for cloth, is Aquaphor. And I would just like create a layer of that, and then nothing was touching his skin.
And for those that are curious, the reason why you can't use that kind of stuff for cloth is because it's hydrophobic. Those creams are. So if that gets on the actual like diaper gusset, it makes it to where like your pee can't go through it. Into the insert inside of it. That's the absorbent part.
So then pee just essentially comes out of the diaper.
Yep.
And it's hard to wash out.
It is. Grovia Super Bubbles or whatever does a pretty decent job, and so we have to do that like once a month.
Right.
To
get it all out.
Get it all out.
Yeah. Bummer summer.
Yep. So my fail, I guess, was opposite of yours. So
yeah.
And I can't really think of like a true win. The week hasn't been bad, but it's been like just like nothing super eventful. So.
I have a scary fail.
Oh. Okay.
I have to cough. Yeah. So Maverick he showers now most of the time. I think I told you that.
I think you did too.
Well, he got done showering and he turned on the bath, which is fine.
Okay.
He sometimes does that after a shower. He's like, I'm gonna take a bath for a minute, and I'm like, whatever. I was getting ready for, I don't remember what. Michael went in there to check on him and was like, that's enough water. Turned it off. So it's off. Michael leaves, shuts the door, thinks he shuts the door. And then where did he go? I think he went out to the garage for something. And he just hollered at me like, hey, I turned off the water. Maverick's still in there. Cool. So then I finished up what I was doing. I'm walking through our bedroom to the bathroom to check on him. This is all happening within like a minute. And I hear a loud like bang into the shower. And I was like, what is that? I come around the corner. The door is wide open. I come in. Quincy has dove into the bath, fully clothed, head first. And she comes up out of the water. And Maverick was like, Mom, Quincy was. And I was like, what is going on? And so I get her out, get her dried off, dressed, whatever. Michael comes back in and he's like, is Mammy done? Like, I can help get him dressed. And I'm
so
like,
oblivious.
Yeah. And I was like, you didn't shut the door. Quincy just went in there and dove into the bath. I was like, that was so scary to walk into. Thankfully, I mean, I would have heard the loud crash even when I was in the bathroom, in our bathroom, but it was just so scary to like see my not so little baby in the bath with fully clothed and just like, you know.
Oh, God.
But everything was fine. She was fine. I was there in like 2 seconds. And Michael, our bathroom door, you know this. If you don't shut it hard, it doesn't shut all the way. Well, he thought he did, and it just wasn't quite latched. And so she just pushed it right open.
Oh, that's like my biggest fear is like the kids in the bath.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there was only this much water in the tub because he had just showered. So he didn't need like a full bath. He was just like doodoppling around. And I know you can drown in any kind of amount of water, but Maverick's to the age that we're not going to leave him in there for a long time, but he can be in there for a minute or two and whatever. Maybe that doesn't sound safe to people, but I promise we're being safe.
You know your kid.
Yeah.
If your kid is one that likes to swim,
right,
then maybe don't leave them alone in the bath.
Right.
But if your kid doesn't do that, then
exactly.
you're probably it's at your parents' discretion.
Bad, yeah.
Personally, I don't ever leave the room when they're in the bath, or at least I'll be like just outside the door.
Right.
But my kids are unpredictable. So
right.
That doesn't fly with my kids because they will just dive. So
yeah, no, Maverick won't. And it was literally, that's why I was going in there to check, because Michael was like, hey, I'm going out here. And so I started then walking into there. And in that amount of time, Quincy decided, I'm going to swim with my brother.
See, I'm grateful Ellie doesn't like the bath. Yeah. Specifically for that one reason. When it's time to actually give her a bath, it sucks.
Right.
Because she screams bloody murder. Like we are trying to drown her. Like the second you go to put her in, she's like, she's like a cat.
Oh man,
you don't bathe a cat.
No. Poor girl.
She hates it. Yeah, which makes bath time so much fun.
And then I told Maverick, I was like, if Quincy ever comes in here when you're doing that, you just scream, Mom.
Oh yeah.
But most of the time he's showering, so he does the bath thing like maybe once every couple of weeks. Because normally we don't let him.
Fluke.
But it was scary. It was a scary fluke.
Oh, I bet.
And now I'm definitely going to be a little bit more on top of it because of that. Since she likes to apparently bust in there.
Sounds about right. Girlfriend's just like independent. She's like, I got this. I'm a grown up. We're good.
And you know what sucks about that is sometimes because she acts so independent, I think that she's older than she is. And so I'll talk to her like I'm talking to Maverick. And then I'm like, why aren't you doing this? And then I'm like, she's barely a year old.
Yep. You'll sit there and you'll be like, okay, I need you to do X, Y, Z. And they're just,
right? Yeah, literally. I'll be like, you need to go pick up all your toys with your brother. Because sometimes she will. And she's just looking at me. And I'm like, you need to go pick up all those toys. You got all those toys out. You need to go pick them up. And she like will pick one up and bring it to me. And I'm like, no, you need to go put them away. And she's just looking at me. And I'm like, you're like 1 year old.
Something similar to that happened the other day with Ellie trying to get her to clean up. And she just looked at me and she went, F. It was just like, right. Okay.
All right.
Well, there's all that.
Yep. There's that.
Let's go ahead and skip over the books because we went on a little tangent there. And let's get right into hobbies that we wish we could take up, but we probably won't.
Yeah, at least not for a while.
Not for a while.
Yeah. One comes to mind for me is my grandpa and my great-grandpa were into stained glass. And my mom, my grandpa, he doesn't do that anymore, and they moved into a smaller house, so he doesn't have space for it. And so my mom inherited all that stuff from them, a bunch of glass, the little like solder thing, the glass cutter, all that stuff. And it's now in her like shed area. And that's something, he showed us how to do it when he brought it over. And it's something that I really want to get into, but it's definitely not something that I can do with little kids around.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to do. Which, I mean, I guess technically I could say, Michael, can you watch the kids for a couple of hours and I can go out there? But it's not an easy thing that I can just go do. And my mom lives like 20 minutes away. So it ends up being like a whole affair.
Yeah. It ends up being like an all-day
just to have
thing.
a hobby. Yeah, exactly.
Even just like easy hobbies like reading or writing or playing an instrument, even those kinds of things can be difficult to do. Or even having like a workout regimen.
Right.
Can be difficult to do when you have kids, especially if you have multiple kids, especially if they are young kids. Like,
yeah, I think it's definitely easier when they get older, but when they're young and they're all over the place and you can't keep them all distracted at the same time, then it's really hard to pick up on things like that.
Oh, yeah. I will say that's one thing that I'm kind of glad about, that I had kids young, because I didn't really discover like adult hobbies before I had kids. So I didn't have to give anything up per se. Because like I know that there are some people that like don't have kids until they're like in their 30s, and they're like, oh yeah, well now I don't get to do XYZ. And I'm like, can't relate, because I wasn't doing anything before.
Right, yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything that I was doing before that I can't do now. I don't think so.
I think like the biggest thing that I did as a hobby was like I would play with makeup a lot.
Yeah.
And that's something that like I don't really do. Like I do like the bare minimum now. Like if I put eyeshadow on,
that's a fancy affair.
That's a fancy affair for me. Yeah,
I agree.
But I used to do like all the different like makeup stuff, and that was like my hobby that I guess I did. I don't do that.
Yeah.
No, and I don't want to.
Right.
It takes like 2 hours.
I feel like priorities definitely shift, and which it sounds bad, because I think some people think of that as like, well, that was part of you. You know, why did you give that part up for your kids? And it's kind of like when you have kids, your priorities shift and you realize, well, I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. And if I do it, it's going to set my schedule off all wonky, you know? And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I do think that, you know, as moms, we should be finding hobbies. But finding ones that work around your kids, especially as a stay-at-home parent,
yes,
is a little bit challenging. I think it's still challenging when you're a working mom, because now you have even less time. But yeah. You get into like a schedule when you're a stay-at-home mom. Yeah.
Because your weekends feel exactly like your weekdays.
Exactly.
Whereas like as a working mom, I'm specifically working outside of the house, but I guess working at home too can whatever. Your weekends feel different.
Right.
And so, you know, there is obviously, I think that's what you were kind of getting at was that. And I mean, I would consider this a hobby.
Yeah.
I do my nails like once every 2 weeks. I'd consider that a hobby.
Right.
Like to crochet, like to knit.
Yep.
Those kinds of things. Those are all like easy hobbies that like if I need to put it down, I can.
Yeah.
You know, you're probably not ever going to catch me mountaineering.
Right.
Now, granted, that's not a hobby I actually want to take up.
Yeah.
And that is not ever on my bucket list. You are never going to see me scale Everest. That's not happening.
Right.
But I'm sure there are people out there that like are like, oh yeah, once I'm, you know, done having kids, I'm going to be a rock climber, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have anything like that.
Yeah.
Not that's like that big anyways.
I don't think there's anything that I have that's like major, at least not at this point in my life. Another one that I wanted to pick up, but it just takes up too much space and you can't just leave it out with kids, is my mom used to scrapbook a lot.
Oh.
And I have wanted to do that, but you have to have your stuff out all the time.
Yeah.
You can't just like put it away every single time. I mean, maybe you can, but then I feel like it's not enjoyable at that point. Like I would like to have it laid out so that I could come and do a little bit and then leave and do a little bit. Well, with kids, they're just gonna destroy that.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you don't have the space to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like if you've got like some big 5-bedroom house and you have like rooms that are being used as like hobby rooms or whatever, then that's like great, fantastic.
Yeah.
But other than that,
yeah,
it's kind of hard to, if you don't have that space.
Very hard. Some hobbies that I have kind of picked up since having kids are gardening. Maverick loves it. And so like we just planted 4 blueberry bushes yesterday. Yeah, yesterday.
Nice.
And that's something that I like to do to an extent. I'm not a super big like outdoorsy, get down dirty in the garden kind of girl, but I'm starting to become more, just because I think your kids kind of bring different hobbies out in you. You know? And that's an easy one, at least in my current situation, that we can bring the kids out and we can do that together. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any hobbies that I have that I don't bring my kids to now. I don't think so. That's the other thing about being a mom. I feel like you kind of lose, you don't focus so much on yourself anymore. And so it's harder to find hobbies.
Mm-hmm. You can easily pick up hobbies for your kids, like Anna doing gymnastics or
Exactly.
Girl Scouts or whatever. I mean, Damon does gymnastics too, but whatever.
Right. Yeah.
It's easy to find hobbies for them and make time for them. But then it's like you somehow don't, you can magically find time for anything your kids want to do.
Yeah.
But the second you have to cater to yourself,
you're like, I have no time.
I have no time.
Make time.
I had to eat a Lunchable for lunch because I didn't have time for lunch for myself. But I made my kids a 4-course meal for dinner last night.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if it'll just come as, you know, our kids get older. I think a lot of it is like mental exhaustion is, you know, you're planning these small children's days. Maybe you're planning your husband's days.
For some reason, the way that you worded that, like, I'm planning his days.
The days of our lives.
I think you and I went on 2 different tracks for that. You were like, the days of his lives. I'm like, no, I'm talking about, like, you're numbering his days.
When you're planning everybody else's day.
Not their schedule.
Their schedule. I feel like then you don't want to plan your own.
Right? Because you're just like,
At least that's how I feel.
I kind of get that way too. Because I'll like look at the schedule and I'm like, oh, there's so much going on this month. Like, I don't want to take the time.
Or when you have downtime, you want to take actual downtime.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be filled with more.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm going to take that day to catch up on my show and just sit.
Yeah.
Because we've been so go that I just need a break.
Yeah. Like, we have that new coffee shop here in town. And I was like, oh, I should invite Mandee to go do that. But I'm like, but then I have to get dressed and go. And, like, I want to hang out with her. And that sounds like a lot of fun.
But that's another thing planned.
But that couch looks really comfortable.
Right, yeah. I've been trying to get out more. And my friend Taylor has been, bless her, she's been very, like, she's always been this way in our friendship. I've been the very, I hate to say passive friend, but I do tend to fall into a passive role.
I tend to too, which sucks for you and
yeah, I know. And she's a very like, let's go do this. Yeah, very passive. And she's a very like, let's go do this, let's go do that. She gets passive too just because she gets busy and stuff, but she's much more of like the
planner, go-getter.
Let's do it. And so she's been doing that. We went to a coffee shop just recently. Well, it's been a couple weeks now. And, you know, she's invited us over in the morning for like coffee and donuts and stuff. And so it's helpful to have a friend like that. And it just, that little bit makes me feel, I hate to say like my old self, but it just makes me feel like I have something other than mom, wife. Yeah. You know? And I think that's important. It's just hard to find that.
It is.
It's really hard. And now I am understanding more and more when people say like, I can't find myself. Like I feel lost. I don't feel like myself. You know, I understand what they're talking about now. Whereas before I'm like, you just have kids now. Yeah. And while most days I feel that way, the other days I'm like, I get it. Because I'll tell Michael, like, I just need a break. I just need a few, like an hour or 2 without the kids. I just need time to myself. And he's like, well, go do something. And I'm like, but what?
Yeah. Thomas does the same thing. He'll be like, go out, go do XYZ. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And that makes me sad for myself. I don't know about you, but it just makes me sad that like I don't have something that I can just do. Like Michael, a lot of times for him, it's the gym. He'll go to the gym. Occasionally it's like going to see a friend, but most of the time it's the gym. You know, I mean, that's hard to find.
It is. And Thomas is always like, just call Mandee, pick something with Mandee. I'm like, Mandee's busy too.
Right. And that's the other thing, having a bunch of mom friends that all have young kids. Yeah. It's really hard to coordinate a schedule where somebody doesn't have their kid.
Yeah. Like the other day when this is obviously with your kids, but like when you were like, oh yeah, we're going to the park, and it's like, Anna's in school.
Exactly. Because I was starting my walk and I was like, I'm going to text Kaylee. I'm going to try to help her get out of the house. And then it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Because there was prior plans. And then the day that you were available, I wasn't available.
Yep.
And so it was just like, okay, well, we tried.
And then the time that we do get, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is great.
Right.
It is great.
It is.
But it's also very heavily, I don't want to say scripted because it's not.
Right. It's more structured.
It's more structured. It's not loose. We can just talk about whatever the hell we want.
And I think that's why sometimes we go on tangents.
Yeah, because I think we need it.
Because we need that. Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just hard to find that time.
Oh,
and I know a lot of people say, like, you just have to do it. You just have to put in the work and find the time. But I think it's just harder when you're mentally trained.
It is. And then trying to work in there, like, your spouse's schedule and stuff. And and then if they have a different schedule than, like, your friends. Because, like, if, let's say your spouse works, like, a 9 to 5. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Easy peasy.
Right.
Saturday, Sunday is open.
Yeah.
You know, you can figure that shit out.
Right.
Now, my husband works a rotating schedule. Your husband now works...
Well, a little less rotating.
A little less rotating. It, like, switches
but
on.
still wonky. Yeah.
Yours, at least, is, like, every other week is the same.
Yeah.
Mine's not.
Right.
His is, like...
Because it's 4 on, 4 off, right?
It's 4 on, 4 off. And
so it's rotating.
Yeah. He doesn't get the same 4 days on, except for, like, maybe once every month?
Yeah.
Month and a half, something like that. And so it's so hard to be like, oh, yeah, this day I'm free. And then I'm like, okay, let me check his schedule.
Right.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he gets overtime. Like today, I found out that he works overtime tomorrow.
Right. Which we were supposed to record tomorrow, but we had to switch it to today because of the overtime. So it just makes it harder to plan.
It does. It makes it so much harder to plan.
Yeah.
And coordinating just with everybody.
And you would think it shouldn't be that hard because just like hearing it, you would be like, oh, well, you would just pick a different day. But then that day doesn't coordinate with the other person. And so like it may sound easy that Kaylee could just be like, well, I just have to do it this day. But then she'll text me, hey, let's do it this day. And I'm like, hey, can't do it that day. And then you have to go down this long list. And then, okay, all the weekdays are accounted for and we can't do any of them.
Yep. Cool. Like last week, we completely missed recording altogether. I think we had 2 days planned.
Yeah.
For last week. And both of them had to get canceled because schedules just did not line up.
Yeah. And it just makes it hard. Because I feel like then, at least for us, our friendship, it's, well, do we make time for the podcast or do we make time to go do something else?
And for the most part lately, it has been podcast.
It has been podcast, yeah.
Which then kind of sad.
I know, yeah, I know.
Because we haven't had just a day to just be together for a very long time.
And I keep telling Michael, I'm like, me and Kaylee like need to go to dinner with like, I just short circuited. Me and Kaylee need to go to dinner like without the kids or go to a coffee shop in the morning without the kids or, you know, it's okay to bring the kids to a lot of things, but I mean, we're racking up the kids, you know, that's 5 kids. 5 kids to bring to a coffee shop. We wouldn't talk.
No.
We would just be like, no, don't do that. No, don't
well,
touch
one
that.
thing, let's see if we can plan something here on the podcast. See if we can make a moment.
Okay.
We're going bowling tonight.
Okay.
I know he works, but would you like to come?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. Yeah. We'll see.
So maybe.
Yeah. I'll let you know.
There would be 3 adults. So I mean.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Your kids would be.
Yeah. Accounted for. Yeah. Maybe. We'll let you know.
But it's still not without kids.
That's true. See?
But there's like so many different things that you can like pick up as a hobby. You can pick up an instrument. You can write. You can paint. You can. I don't know. There's literally so many things that like there's no possible way that I could name all of them.
Right. Yeah.
And some things are definitely less doable as a parent than others. Like I was saying earlier, mountaineering.
Yeah.
Like that's not something you can really. I mean, technically, yes, I could go disappear into the mountains for a month if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to, and nor do I want to.
No.
Some people do though.
Some people do. I think we're also not big on like leaving our kids with somebody else.
Yeah.
And some people have an easier time with that. And they're just like, yeah, I have a babysitter and they watch them on every, Friday and I go do this thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not comfortable with that. And because my childcare is mainly my mom. Mm-hmm. It's like when she has a moment, I could probably, if it was something I was really
gung-ho about,
I could be like, hey mom, every Saturday, could you do this? But that'd be a big ask.
That is a big ask.
And I don't have anything that I need to do that for, you know?
Mm-hmm. I get that.
Yeah.
And like, I'll see like those different things. It's like, you know, wine and paint and those kinds of things. Like that seems like a fun little hobby, but then it's, you know, then you get right back to the scheduling issue. And
yeah, I've done a couple of those. And the one thing that I love doing it, but then you go home with this painting and you don't want it in your house.
And you're like, what do I do with this thing?
And okay, do I put it in the back of the closet? Do I pull this out for special occasions? What do I do with this painting?
Do I donate this to Goodwill?
Like, what do I do with this?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, and a lot of hobbies take up space, and as you and I have both spoke about not having tons of space to put all these things. So where are we putting our hobbies?
Yeah,
you know?
where are these going?
I know some hobbies don't have to have a lot of things, but a lot of them do.
A lot of them do. Like, honestly, I would say, like, the most time-consuming hobby that I currently have would probably be reading.
Yeah.
And, like, but, like, you can put books on shelves.
Right.
They can be on your Kindle. Like,
and you can, like, stop reading because a kid's hollering at you, and you can set it down, and then you can go do what you need to do.
Can't really do that if I'm soldering glass together.
Yeah, no. Definitely not.
It's just not that...
Oops.
It's just not always that simple.
Yeah.
And, like, even trying to do my nails, which is probably the most time consuming, like, in that specific moment, for the most part, like, it kind of gets done in stages. And I can stop in between those stages if I absolutely have to get something done. Right. Or, like, let me just finish gluing this nail on and then I will go make you lunch.
Yep.
But, like, parents get interrupted so much when their kids are little. And, like, that's one thing that, like, as somebody who's had like all of her kids close together,
right,
it can be so frustrating to have all of your children close together, but then they will all be older at the same time,
right?
And you're not going to have like a 16-year-old, a 5-year-old, a newborn,
yep,
and then having to go through all the stages like 100% of the time. It's kind of just like once one gets out and then the next one's in, and then it just kind of cycles through, and then once the last one's out, then everybody's older,
right?
Y'all can take care of yourself.
Yeah, I've done my job. Come home every once in a while, please.
And then, like, once it gets to that point, like, I know that it'll be so much easier. And then I know that I'll be grateful for it at that point.
Right, yeah.
When they're all older and independent, all kind of at the same time. Granted, that means that I'm going to become an empty nester very, very quickly. Like, once it starts, it just, like, doesn't stop. And then all of a sudden, everybody's out of the house within, like, a year of each other.
Yeah.
That's going to be crazy to me.
Yeah.
And that's going to get really lonely really quickly. But then I'm going to have,
quickly.
Like, so much time. And
you're going to have so much time, and now you have to figure out what you like again.
Yeah. Which is one thing that I'm trying to, like, because I guess it's not really a hobby per se, but like birth, right? Trying to become a midwife someday.
Right.
And so I know that that'll take up a bunch of my time.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that, you know, once I am an empty nester, so I'll be, you know, in my early 40s when I don't have any kids in the house anymore. Granted, I guess if a kid stays a little bit longer, then whatever.
Right. At least they'll be old enough to take care of themselves.
They'll be an adult.
Yeah.
Like, you're fine.
Right. Calm down.
But I'll be able to, like, take that on full time. And I feel like that's still pretty young to be able to take something on full time.
Yeah.
And then I'll be able to be like, oh, I can, you know, go do XYZ if I really want to. I could take up stand-up comedy.
You could.
I could.
You could become a bartender.
I could.
You could, if those were your
If
hobbies.
I wanted to, yeah.
You could start traveling everywhere.
And see, that would be a lot of fun, would be to travel. Like, I would love to go do, like, a Europe tour someday. Maybe not all of Europe, like, at once. Like, I really want to go to Italy. I really want to go to, like, Ireland and, you know, certain places in Germany.
Right.
Maybe not necessarily all in one trip, but
right. But multiple travel trips would be fun.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people will be like, oh, you had kids young, like you should have traveled first. I wouldn't have been able to afford to do that at 19.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's kind of one of those things, like eventually when, we will be settled and in our jobs and stuff by the time we are empty nesters, and we will still be young enough to enjoy the remainder of the second half.
Right. Yeah.
Potentially more than half, realistically.
Yeah.
If we live longer than like our 80s, like if we live into our 90s and stuff, then we'll have more than half of our lives to do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And traveling is
unless there's
definitely
any
one of the
ailments. Knock on wood.
True.
But
kind of sounds funny to.
It does.
I don't know. Can you hear? Hold on. Can you?
I think I can hear it.
Close enough.
I think I can hear it though in here. Yeah. Traveling is something that I really want to do too. And we try to do like little things with the kids, but the more kids you have, the more expensive things are. So it's harder and harder and harder.
Oh, yes.
To travel with them.
Yep.
And to wrangle that many kids in like a new area is also challenging.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. It's hard to have hobbies as a parent and not have guilt around it. But I think that moms also need to know that, and I mean parents in general, but I mean we're moms, so that's all I got. But moms should know that, like, it's not too late to pick up a hobby once your kid is out of the house, or to start being, start thinking about those different things that you could be doing someday. And there may be hobbies that you will just never pick up, and that's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think that you just have to try to find something that you can do for yourself. I mean, we've said that on here multiple times, and we definitely know that it's easier said than done.
Way easier said than done.
But if you can find something that just can take your mind away from being mom and wife and just be, Mandee, Kaylee, whatever your name is.
Yep.
I feel like that definitely helps, and it helps you be a better mom, and it helps you be a better wife if you're a wife. You know what I'm saying?
Partner, spouse, whatever.
Partner, spouse, whatever you're doing.
Person.
Yeah,
honestly,
person.
You
Yeah.
can be alone if you want to be.
Yeah, just have like time to yourself. I think that's important for anyone. Even people who don't have kids, I think it's important to find moments for just you and nobody else.
Yeah.
I think it's good to find hobbies like with other people too, but I think having that like one-on-one time with yourself is much needed for growth.
Oh yeah, and it can be something simple. Like it doesn't need to be some expensive, crazy, out there hobby. It could be, taking up crochet, going on walks every single day. Rock hounding is something my mom does.
Yeah.
So she'll drive to a beach or a river or something and just find rocks, I guess. I don't know what rock hounding is exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's like she tries to find amber and jade and
other
stuff.
We do that like around at the beach and stuff, but we usually look for like agates or fossils.
That's the other thing is agates too.
Yeah,
she's always got a bunch of agates.
Yeah, that's usually what we do at the beach. Which that's something we can do with the kids, but we found before Michael and I would like take maybe 2-3 hours of just looking for little treasures on the beach. Now it's very interrupted looking, and it's okay, we've been here an hour where we live on the Oregon coast. Time to go. Everybody's cold and wet.
Yep.
And sandy, and they don't want to be here anymore.
Yep.
So, but it's still something. You just have to kind of adjust how you do things because of the children. You do. And it's not, I think that a lot of people, especially who are not parents, tend to make parents think that they should feel bad or that it's a bad thing, and it shouldn't be. Right.
I think that it should be normalized that it's okay that things are, not always exactly how you plan for them, and that those candid moments can be good too.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I think that we're told that, you have kids, so your life's over. But I think for a lot of parents, you had kids because you wanted to have kids. And, people always say, this is just the season of kids. And I think that's very true. This is the season of kids for myself, for yourself. I'm not going to be able to do a lot of things right now because I'm in the season of raising my children and I want to be fully present for them. Some people don't see it that way. Some people are like, I had kids, but I'm not going to stop my life. And not that I'm stopping my life, but I'm still going to pursue XYZ because they can go to a daycare, or I have a great support system and my parents can watch them every weekend, or, you know, whatever it is, which I think both are fine. But I don't think that parents who have to cut back should be like looked down upon.
Yeah, it shouldn't be seen as a negative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I feel that way too.
Yeah.
And I mean, our kids are kind of our hobbies.
Yeah, true. Motherhood is a hobby.
Yep.
It's an expensive, long, stressful, tiring, anxiety-filled, loving hobby.
All of it. Yep. Well, I think that kind of wraps up this week's episode. It's the last one we have to film for the season.
It is.
It's not the last one you're seeing, but it's the last one we have to film for the season. You still have a couple, like a week or two. To you, my friend.
Until we meet again.
I love it.
Bear in the Big Blue House, if anyone was curious where that was from.
Yep.
Anyways, this is the last one we're filming, but you guys will still see another
episode or two.
Yeah.
I forget. I think it's our favorites, and then it's the end of season
I think
1.
that's how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you guys have 2 more weeks of episodes, and then we're taking a little break. But you'll hear about that at the end of the season episode of kind of when we're planning on coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with a friend who maybe needs a little pick-me-up from not having a hobby or something. And
we get it.
We get it.
Yep.
We do.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
I was a beat off and I knew that it wasn't going to sound right if I kept going. So sorry. Okay.
I forgot where to look because I was like, where's the camera?
I know. Well, and I looked down at my shirt because I thought I saw something, so then it really threw me off and I was like, oh, wait.
It's all good.
Okay. I'm actually ready.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.